Eager to hear about the athlete's progress, especially one of them.
Rico? Hilapangku di na kayakinan. Mual ngiluk latihan tang. Nalika
I'm, well aware of the fact that I chose not to fight the first day. But since then, I've had time to think about it. I've spoken to Kiguru. I think it comes down to how I approach it. And if I approach it as an aggressive fight where I'm out to hurt somebody, that doesn't sit right with me. But if I approach it as a sport, then I'm okay with it.
Wan Cina datang, pasang giri tanding.
Yes.
Reiko's first fight is against Brad. The object is to take your opponent down. The fight will also be judged on technical ability. It's a close contest. Then, a frustrated Reiko tries a leg sweep. It fails.
I tried to take Brad down with a double leg sweep, but he's probably the last man who's going to go down to that. He's too heavy.
Next, Corey and Mark step into the arena. Though Corey is the weakest fighter, he holds his own against the martial arts specialist. But then, Mark's experience comes through.
I think that we both performed very well and showed what we've learned over the past week.
The final fight is Jason against Richard. In a barroom brawl, it would be no contest. But in Pinchak, technique trumps aggression. Despite his huge weight advantage, Jason struggles against his more agile opponent. Has seen enough. The athletes who've made the cut are asked to step forward.
Tumanya. Seperti besok maju harus. Red. Rico. Maju harus. Mark. Maju harus. Richard.
Just 4 are chosen: Richard, Brad, Mark, and Reiko. But Corey is out, and so is Jason.
I'm confused. I threw a couple punches, but I try to keep it controlled and pretty much...
The Pinchak competition is just 48 hours away. 4 of the athletes have been judged good enough to compete. That's if they can survive this elite Pinchak's lock training camp.
He goes full too. Oh, it's crazy.
The athletes have already had pain endurance training, but this is a master class.
I trust no one in my life enough to do something like this. You gotta be joking me.
I've seen it all.
Now properly spooked, the athletes are sent to their huts on the hill. Practice hasn't even begun, but one of them is already...
Today they said I've had a really just groggy stomach and really bad head, just this excruciating headache. And also I vomited last night and I just feel generally like a bag of crap.
Richards picked a bad moment to get sick. As soon as they're settled, all the athletes are called down to the river for their next challenge.
Redepkeun hudap ayeuna pasti hidap dikeun. Tina opat
As part of their mental training for the competition, the athletes will have to sit still in the river for 4 hours. They'll have to endure body-numbing cold, snakes, and biting spiders.
Careful of snakes.
Even worse, daylight gives way to total darkness.
As soon as the sun dropped, everything completely changed. You couldn't see what was around you. I kept having things bump into me. I had bats swooping in front of my head because all the mosquitoes attacking my face.
Mark's also got visitors.
Ah, what's that? Ah! Ow!
I've got spiders above me, skimming on the water in front of my eyes. And I wish I hadn't seen those. Ah! Yeah, they do freak me out.
But for Richard, the biggest challenge is his illness.
Unfortunately, I went in thinking I'm feeling pretty feeble. Within half an hour, I was, really having a sort of internal battle whether or not to stay in there.
It's not long before the cold claims its first victim. But it's not Richard. Mark has had enough.
There's a competition tomorrow, and I've just done an hour, so I don't feel I need to do any more than that.
Now there's only 3 left. The stalemate holds another 30 minutes. Brad is the second man out.
No, I did an hour and 35, and I think that's pretty decent, man.
Now only 2 remain. But Richard is struggling.
Rich is too young to get this mental victory over me. I've got to keep him in his rightful place as the young dog. He's got to learn tricks from the old dog.
Finally, Richard gives in. Ryko's proved his point.
2 hours 42, apparently. But I think if I needed to, I could have done 4 hours. I couldn't have gone a whole night, but I could have kept going a while longer.
Ryko may have taken bragging rights, but this test isn't a competition. The man wants to see is Richard.
Richard, bunga kacida, gumbira, reus, dedeh, ningali hidup ngabogaan semangat, tandana hidup teh nya baparus, sagedi. It's a very great honor to be told that, and I want to reward your faith in picking me for this competition.
There's still more suffering ahead for the athletes as they stomach one final day of training and pain. It's the morning of the final fight, and the athletes are up early for their last practice. But Ryko is not with them. he's down at the river with a problem.
We just practicing just now, and me and Mark both tried to throw each other at the same time, but my foot was still planted in the ground behind him. So as he twisted me around, my knee just completely twisted again.
Raiko may be the best all-around athlete, but he's also proving surprisingly vulnerable to injury. This is now the second problem with his knee, first injured in Senegal.
Come on, you! I can't do it. I can't do it. Same bloody injury as Senegal. Border people saying, oh, just don't worry about it, you know, rest, just...
The competition begins in just 12 hours. Desperate to take part, Raiko turns to Kiguru for help.
Serious. Just think about your health, not competition.
Raiko doesn't know it yet, but he snapped his anterior cruciate ligament. But Raiko can't bring himself to pull out. Half an hour later, he's back in training. Together, the athletes work on kicks, punches, and technique. And keeps working their pain endurance. This time, with a blowpipe. The athletes are almost ready, but before they can fight, they must pledge an oath to obey the Pinchak Code.